Hi, how are you?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So first question, what were your initial thoughts looking at the England squad? What do you recognize immediately as the stronger areas and the weaker areas in that squad?
Well, initial thoughts were exciting, or excited, should I say? I'm not the only one. I'm sure there's every England player, in one shape or form, was asked to put forward their proposed 26. Obviously, it went to 33, didn't it, initially? And I'm pleased to say I was only 3 wrong, and 2 of those were injured. So it's kind of like I was close. Not that I knew what the squad was going to be, speaking to Gareth Southgate, but yeah, I think for the first time in a long time, England have got more than 33 players that they could choose for the squad. And the caveat to this is some of these players are actually injured or have been injured, and therefore possibly still might not actually make it onto the field. But as a paper exercise, England have got so much talent across the board. And when you talk about weaknesses, I don't see them. I might have my England glasses on, but I genuinely don't see them. I mean, it's easy to look at the goalkeepers from goalkeeping perspective and say, "Oh, is our goalkeeper better than Oblak? Is he better than Donnarumma?" But they're different, very, very different. And what we had, I was at the game against Austria on Wednesday, and watching it live, I didn't realise. I had to watch the replays after that. There was a little save. It was a little fingertip by Jordan Pickford to tip one onto the bar, and he keeps a clean sheet. And it's just like, yeah, Austria played well in parts in that game. His kicking again was superb, and it was just like this England side looked very comfortable with all the changes that were made in the game. They still look comfortable against a very decent opposition in the end, and therefore, defensively, we've got some of the best defenders in Europe. Midfield, we've got some of the best midfielders. Attacking wise, if you look at the centre forwards in Harry Kane, we've got the best in the EPL, therefore one of the best in Europe. So I mean, we've got an abundance of talent as in that England squad, and a mixture. I say mixture of age because of Jude Bellingham at 17 years old. That the actual parameters, the age gap has been increased slightly, given that, as I say, he is so young. But what a talent! Jude Bellingham, Jadon Sancho, cup winners in Germany. Just thinking earlier, the likes of Kieran Trippier, the league winner in Spain. We've got Champions League winners, Champions League finalists, Euro. It's just, yeah, we've got a really nice squad.
You mentioned the injuries, and just yesterday news came out Alexander-Arnold has been ruled out of the tournament. Harry Maguire is returning to football after a month of being absent due to the injuries. He missed the Europa final. So you think defensively there could be trouble because of these key players getting injured and stuff?
No. I mean, of course, you want feel for Trent. As I say, I didn't actually even notice what happened in the game. But when you saw the images of him, I was there when he was getting sort of help around the pitch. Then you obviously feared for the worst. Now I don't know if that's official that he's out of the squad, but it would suggest there's a lot of discourse around that. So if that's the case, then obviously I feel for him in that situation. But when Maguire fully fit, is probably going to start. But when you think you've got the likes of John Stone, the likes of Conor Cody, the likes of Tyrone Mings, I mean, these are guys who, when you've watched England playing over the last sort of 18 months, the likes of Conor Cody, the likes of Mings, more importantly, you just seen them grow in their role for England. I think right at the beginning of their sort of time, there was a bit of edginess, but now they look very comfortable. I was with some of the England players yesterday. Conor Cody was one of them, and it's just such a good buzz around that squad at the moment. I don't know if it's nervous buzz or whatever, but I just felt so good being around them. And we were doing some activation work, and it was just like other players are coming in and out, and yeah, just so good. Now the injury, going back to the point, the injuries, obviously you don't want to have them, but there is more than enough cover I wouldn't even say cover. I'd like to think that there's competition, even with the injured players fit. There's still competition in that squad for the starting lineup, which is the best place for any team to have.
A lot of discourse about Jesse Lingard not being picked in the squad. Your thoughts on that? Should he be included in that list, or should he not? Like, what are your thoughts on Lingard?
Yeah, I mean, I say this is the beauty of this 26-man squad. There are a lot of players who could have been in there. I think in squads in the past, you look at 23, 25 players, 23 players normally. And quite often you're kind of thinking, who else can we add in to make up the 23? And I say that respectfully. Whereas now we had 33 and there were still players that should have been in there. So I think it's a testament to how strong essentially the EPL's been. But if you look at Jude Bellingham, look at Sancho and Trippier, 3 players, for example, who are playing in Central Europe. We've got players now that can play the European game literally and be successful in Europe literally, which means we're not just looking at English players, and it means that the Gareth Southgate selection pot is so much bigger. So yes, Jesse Lingard had a fantastic run in this season for West Ham, and yes, he did everything and deserved to be in the question. But if you flip the question and say who should he have replaced, then I think you're struggling to answer, and in a good way, because Calvert-Lewin is fantastic. Harry Kane is fantastic. And also as well, I think this. Forgive me, going off on a slight tangent here. The idea that we need an out-and-out striker. I mean, Jesse Lingard isn't an out-and-out number 9 striker, but I think there are so many other attacking, creative type players in this squad that it's kind of, is he actually going to be taking a central forward position, or is he going to be taking Mason Mount or Phil Foden's position? It's unfortunate to have such a good season, but he's up against some fantastic competition.
And Marcus Rashford in upfront has also had some injury troubles this season. He had a very uninspiring performance in the Europa final. Seemed like a lot of criticism from fans and stuff. Do you think he'll be able to find his magic back and do what needed to be done in the Euro?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at that one final and saying that he's a bad player, or suggesting, there's not one player who's going to be on display in this Euro 2020 who hasn't had a bad game. Unfortunately for Marcus, if he's not performing at his highest levels for Manchester United, then it seems the whole world knows about it and the whole world wants to talk about it. As I say, I think when you look at what we've got in this squad, the likes of Rashford, the likes of Sterling, these are players who have been playing in European finals already for their clubs. They've been playing in sides where they can arguably sort of play different roles. So Gareth Southgate has all of this at his disposal. How can I put it? Marcus Rashford doesn't need to have six fantastic games for England in this final. He only needs one. Now, the easy one is having a fantastic one in the final. But if he has a fantastic one in the third group stage game, and that gets us in the first position, or if it's in the last 16 or in the quarterfinals, whatever. If he has one fantastic game and the rest of the team can also have a different fantastic game, then we'll be successful. And I think the difficulties with watching international finals is that we always want the top player to be the best player. And Man City and Chelsea have proved this season that it's the quality of the squad that will get success. And I think that's how England should approach it. It's the quality of the squad, not the individual.
Just one final question from my side. The semi-final and final of Euro 2020 will take place at Wembley. Mm-hmm. So if England managed to reach the semi-final and final series, you think that it gives them potentially a better chance of winning the trophy, considering the home ground advantages? You're already so excited for this.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I've been covering with Sony. Been covering a lot of games. Different channels have been covering a lot of games during the lockdown, and because I've been to games doing commentary, and I've been so focused on the football that I haven't allowed the lack of fans to sort of interrupt the process, if that makes sense. and going to games with fans, like going to the League Cup final and having 8,000 fans there, all of a sudden it was like, hang on a minute, this is different. And it was like one of those silly things. It's kind of like, So from an England perspective, to have England fans, I was at the game at Middlesbrough, as I say, against Austria. Having fans there makes so much difference. And having fans supporting you makes an even bigger difference. And traditionally for tournaments, England fans have been, phenomenal in representation. And I remember back to Euro 96, last time we had a big tournament in England, the whole country got behind the team. Of course, we didn't win it. We went out on penalties in typical fashion, but there was this energy around everyone. And now, because we're coming out of lockdown, we're not obviously at the end of it, but just the energy around England just changes. So have we got an advantage? I'm going to say yes. Portugal had an advantage in the last Euros. England will have an advantage. Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking time out and answering all the questions. All the best for England to win this Euro 2020.
Thank you, Karan. Take care of yourself.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.